If you think I hurt my kid,
I didn't know. I don't like that.
Do you have remorse for what you've done?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Do not enter my door. I will kill you.
It was just before 8 p.m. on August 2019 when police in Glendale, Arizona got a chilling 911 call. A neighbor near 55th and Orangewood Avenues reported something terrifying. Screams for help coming from the house next door. Something was very wrong, and officers rushed to the scene.
My next door neighbor, I don't know what happened, but there was blood everywhere. Did your neighbor say what happened? I don't know. I'm looking at him right now, and there was blood. Where is it coming from? I have no idea.
When officers got to the house, they found 43-year-old Bradley Harshman lying near the front door. He wasn't moving, and his chest was covered in stab wounds. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late. Bradley didn't make it. Inside the house, there was only one other person, his roommate, 35-year-old Brent Carvajal. Police arrested him on the spot and brought him in for questioning. What you're about to see is the actual interrogation of Brent Carvajal.
Do you have a phone number?
I really don't know I don't even know my phone, if I have a phone anymore.
It's okay. That's okay.
Detectives start with a basic question, asking Brent for his phone number, but his response is strange. Right away, something feels off. Brent seems confused, or maybe he's pretending to be.
What's your relationship like with your roommates? Do you guys get along?
I thought it was cool. I thought they liked me.
The way he says it, hesitant, uncertain, catches the detective's attention.
Mario's a good guy.
Okay.
But Bradley, he started turning crazy on me. And I didn't think he was racist, but I think he was.
It seems like he and Bradley weren't on good terms.
Have you seen the cameras?
No.
Or you just know they're there?
I know they're there because they'll sometimes talk to me. Like, a voice will talk to me.
Then things take a strange turn. Brent starts talking about surveillance. He says someone's always listening and even talking to him.
What do the voices say when they talk to you?
They're not in my head. There's actually an intercom in there that'll say stuff. Like,
what do they say?
They'll just...
The detective presses further, wanting to understand the so-called voices Brent keeps mentioning. But Brent stands firm. He says they're real, coming from an intercom inside the house. At this point, the detective is watching Brent's eyes, his body language, the cracks in his reality. Because when a suspect starts hearing voices through invisible speakers, you're no longer just solving a crime. You're navigating a mind that may already be lost.
They'll just say real quick stuff.
Like what?
Like, go to sleep. You should wake up. Like, go brush your teeth. Like, they'll just say simple things like that real quickly. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
The more Brent talks, the more the room shifts. Now he's mentioning voices through some kind of hidden intercom system in the house. The detective's not sure what to think. Schizophrenia? Drug-induced paranoia? Or just an act to dodge a murder charge? Whatever it is, Brent isn't talking like a man with a grip on reality. And the idea that someone or something is telling him when to sleep or brush his teeth, it's unsettling. But also, it might explain the chaos that unfolded in that house.
It was building up for a couple of days. I kept telling, because he kept smoking meth in the other room.
Brad did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brent doesn't dive straight into the incident. Instead, he starts laying the groundwork. He says this wasn't sudden. It had been building. Tension, frustration, fear, all tied to one thing: Brad smoking meth in the other room. To the detective, this is a familiar pattern. The slow burn before the explosion. But he also knows what's coming next. Brent's about to turn that pressure into a reason.
The cops, I called everybody.
Okay.
I said, get this guy out of here. Plus, there's dope in the room. They didn't give two shits.
Okay.
So I told the cop, I said, if he comes at me, what are my rights? He goes, do what you have to do. I go,
Now Brent's unraveling fast. He's ranting about a guy Brad used to bring over. Someone demanding money, claiming Brent owed for drugs he never ordered. To the detective, it's starting to sound less like a story and more like a storm that had been building for weeks. A house filled with tension, drugs, and threats. And Brent? He was either the victim of it or the one who finally snapped.
Okay.
and they're stupid idiots that try to play the boundary, and I'm not to be played with. Like,
Okay.
Then Brent says something that stops the detective cold. He claims there was a hit out on him, that people were trying to collect some sort of bounty, and that he's not someone to be messed with. It's a sudden change, from fearful and paranoid to confident, almost defiant.
banging on my door. He's like,
Brad was?
Brad was banging on my door, and he said, "If you don't come out, I'm gonna beat the shit out of Mario again." And then I heard Mario.
Brent's story is spiraling now. He's painting Brad as unstable, cracked out, muttering about murder, and threatening violence. The detective's trying to piece it all together, but it's hard to follow. It sounds like a scene from a paranoid nightmare. Voices, monitors, threats, someone banging at his door. But here's the problem. None of it is confirmed. No monitor, no alert system, just Brent's word. And the more he talks, the harder it becomes to tell whether he's describing reality or trying to justify what he did next.
The lady said he has something in his waist. The voice is the lady. He said
That's from the monitors.
the monitors to it. Brent, don't open the door. Don't open the door. And then
The detective listens, but it's getting harder to separate reality from delusion. There's no proof of any voice, any monitor, any warning system at all. It's messy, fragmented, and to the detective, it's starting to sound more like a constructed narrative, one built to justify fear and maybe violence.
I said, if you dare threaten me, I'm gonna murk you. I said,
You said that to Brad?
yeah. I said,
Okay.
do not enter my door. I will kill you.
Okay.
And it,
Brent's tone turns darker. He admits it outright. He warned Brad, told him not to come near the door or he'd kill him. For the detective, this changes everything. Brent wasn't reacting in the heat of the moment. He was issuing threats in advance. Maybe whatever happened was not because of fear. Maybe it was intentional.
he said, dog, these punches are I'm throwing hit. I'm knocking you the fuck out. Then I'm gonna kill you like I did, like my family did your dad.
Where was he hitting?
Brent claims he finally opened the door, and Brad attacked him immediately. To the detective, it feels like the moment Brent's been building toward this entire time, the tipping point, the excuse, the justification. But something's not right. The details are wild, almost theatrical. Family revenge? A threat about Brent's own father? It sounds more like a made-up story.
I shut the door on him. I shut the door on him, and I think I broke his hand because his hand got caught in the door. He said,
In the door?
yeah. So he said, will you please let go of my hand? And then
The strange thing is that he says Brad asked him, politely, to let go of his hand. To the detective, that doesn't track. If Brad was in a violent rage, high and threatening murder, why the sudden calm plea? Why would a man mid-attack stop to ask nicely? The pieces don't fit, and it's becoming clearer with each word. Brent's version of the story might be fabricated.
When he opened up the door, he reached for his knife, and then that's when I got him.
Okay.
And just like that, Brent delivers the moment everything has been building toward. He says Brad reached for a knife, and that's when he got him. One sentence to explain a man's death. The detective knows this is the part where truth and self-defense blur. Was Brad really reaching for a weapon? Or is this just a line Brent's been preparing, the final piece of a story?
When he reached for his knife, does he carry a knife normally?
No, he had it right here, I go, don't reach for it. He goes, where's your knife? I go, it's on the bed. He goes, I'm killing you right now.
Okay. What did his...
Brent now claims Brad had a knife, says he warned him not to reach for it. But then Brad allegedly turned it around, asking where Brent's knife was and threatening to kill him. It's a chaotic back and forth, full of gaps and contradictions. But at its core, Brent is painting a picture of a standoff, one where he felt cornered and acted before Brad could. Still, to the detective, the timeline feels too convenient. The threat, the warning, the weapon, all landing just in time to justify what Brent had already decided to do.
And you carry a knife, is that correct? Okay, and what kind of knife do you carry?
It's a kitchen knife.
Okay, and what does it look
With the
like?
sheath on it, and
What color is the sheath?
it's a clear sheath.
Oh, okay. Like...
Brent says Brad never got the chance to grab the knife, that he struck first. Then comes the quiet confirmation. Brent was the one carrying a knife, not a pocket knife, not for protection, but a kitchen knife with a sheath. To the detective, this detail stands out. A kitchen knife carried around the house, ready and covered. This suggests that Brent was prepared for anything to happen, and that changes everything.
So when you said he was reaching for the knife, was it already in your pocket? Your knife?
I had it on my left hand.
Oh, okay.
So because they said and then they said there was a person in the other room with a gun.
And these are...
Brent says he had the knife in his left hand, all ready to go. But then, almost as an afterthought, he mentions something else. The monitors. Again. This time he says they warned him about someone in the other room with a gun. It's clear. Brent is no longer just recounting events. He's relying on imaginary voices to guide his actions. Voices he fully believes are helping him. And with each mention of the monitors, the line between reality and hallucination gets thinner and more dangerous.
I'm gonna get Mario and everything. I said, what? And then that's I poked him once, and I go, you better back off.
Brent claims the voices told him more, that after they got him, they'd come for Mario too, another threat. He says that's when he acted, that he gave a warning shot, just one stab to make Brad back off. The story keeps shifting, folding in imaginary threats and justifications.
Just went into a mode to where, because my dad warned me people were after me, and then the girl next door, Kelly, told me, you better do something drastic because they're getting ready to fucking gut you and torture you.
Now Brent's trying to explain his mindset with fear. He says his father warned him that people were out to get him, that the neighbor, Kelly, told him something terrible was coming, that he was about to be tortured, gutted. This isn't just paranoia anymore. It's a full-blown delusion. A world where everyone's a threat and violence is the only way out. And yet, it's also the perfect cover. Because if Brent truly believed all of this, then maybe, just maybe, he thinks what he did wasn't a crime, but self-defense.
Now, the first stab was a warning.
When asked about how many times he stabbed Brad, Brent doesn't give a number. Instead, he shifts the story again, calling the first stab a warning. He claims he even gave Brad a chance to back off, showed him the knife, but then Brad taunted him, dared him. This is a crucial moment. Brent isn't just describing self-defense anymore. He's building a scene, a back and forth, a challenge. And if the first stab was just a warning, what were the rest?
No one listened to my cries for help.
Okay.
I called the police in the past week trying to get these people out of my house.
Okay.
Brent breaks down for a moment. He says he's scared, not just now, but for days, maybe weeks. The detective watches closely. It could be genuine fear or a calculated plea for sympathy. But one thing stands out. Brent keeps circling back to the same idea, that he warned everyone, that he asked for help, that he was ignored. It's as if he's trying to shift the blame from himself to the system that didn't stop him.
He was, for some reason, trying to kill me very bad. I'm dead serious. It was either going to be me or him. And
Brent insists Brad was trying to kill him, says it was serious, life or death, him or me. It's the classic turning point in cases like this, the moment a suspect stops explaining and starts defending. But even now, buried beneath paranoia and delusion, Brent sounds certain. And that certainty, whether rooted in fear, mental illness, or cold calculation, is exactly what the detective has to untangle.
for days he was saying, I'm going to kill you as soon as you fall asleep.
Okay. Have you guys had...
He's popped my bed. He's pissed on my clothes. He's fucking spit up in my food. He's...
Brent keeps painting a picture of escalating abuse, death threats, ruined clothes, even tampered food. He claims Brad threatened to kill him in his sleep, tried to fight him, pushed him to his limit. These details raise more questions than answers. If it had been going on for days, why didn't Brent leave? Why didn't he report the violence? Instead, he stayed and armed himself. That's the part the detective keeps coming back to. Brent wasn't trying to escape the situation. He was preparing for it.
They were coming in. Like people in red were coming in. That's the gang color, red.
And they were dressed in red? Did you see these people?
Or
were the monitors telling you?
Brent's paranoia takes another turn. Now he's talking about people in red, gang members, he says, coming into the house. But when the detective asks if he actually saw them, Brent hesitates. Suddenly, it's not clear if it was him or the monitors, or maybe Brad who saw them. The story blurs again, drifting into something imagined, half remembered, or invented. It's becoming painfully obvious. Brent's world isn't grounded in reality. But whether he's delusional or dangerously manipulative, that's still unclear.
And then I kept seeing people red like all around. And
like how many people? Like big groups?
It's a gang. Like
Brent insists he saw them. People in red, surrounding the house. Gang members, he says. But the details are all over the place. First it's 2 people, then a few more. He can't say which gang, how many, or even what exactly they were doing. Only Brent believes it. He's fully locked into this version of reality. But belief isn't the same as truth. And the deeper Brent slips into his own narrative, the harder it becomes to pull out what really happened that night.
If you feel like you're getting sick, okay?
Hey.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve to die.
Okay.
I'm sorry about this.
Okay. All right, Brent, just give me a couple minutes, okay? I'll be right back.
Then, just before the detective steps out of the room, Brent says something that sticks. He admits Brad didn't deserve to die, and he apologizes. It's the first time he stops justifying, stops blaming, and shows something real. Maybe guilt, maybe regret.
new box. The message left there. So I think
As the detective leaves the room, Brent slowly lays down on the floor, emotionally drained.
Yeah, okay. All right, give me a minute.
Hey, ready to go back down?
Throughout the interview, it was clear that Brent Carvajal wasn't in a good place mentally. His words were scattered, his thoughts childlike, almost like someone lost in their own mind. The detective saw it too. He didn't push. He stepped back, maybe realizing that this wasn't just guilt, but a man who couldn't make sense of what he'd done. Later, Brent was found guilty of manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 years and 6 months and is now serving his time in the Lama Correctional Center in Arizona. It's a tragic case, one where justice and mental illness collided, and like so many others, it leaves behind more questions than answers about violence, accountability, and the fragile line between reality and delusion. While Brent's story was shaped by paranoia and delusion, our next case is something else entirely, a cold, calculated cover-up involving a missing toddler and a lie that began with a stolen car. Today's second case uncovers the chilling cover-up of 21-month-old Lonzie Barton's death, hidden behind a fake car theft.
He spent time trying to figure out how to cover his tracks, up to the point of staging this abduction of which was already.
Her boyfriend, William Ebron Jr., reported the child missing on July 24th, 2015, claiming the car was stolen, but surveillance footage soon poked holes in the story.
This is 0146 hours. That's 1:46 in the morning, and he leaves out of there at 1:54. Okay.
As the lies unraveled, the truth came to light. It was more horrifying than anyone can imagine.
You know, it's pretty clear we listen and do everything we have to do to prove this case. And if part of it is getting you to understand we are not the ones trying to BS you, then I'm ready to do whatever it takes to make you buy that.
The lead detective hits Barton with evidence right out of the gate. Once that fragile loyalty begins to crack, it becomes a matter of time before one suspect turns on the other. It's a psychological warfare, and Barton's already on shaky ground.
I need you to understand the story of the car being stolen with the child in it is total horseshit. Okay? Do you understand that?
I do understand that.
All right, so with...
There's a haunting absence in Barton's demeanor. Her face doesn't flinch, her tone doesn't crack. That shows detachment from her child, because even the strongest parents still show the weight of loss in their eyes.
Understanding this, it leads us to the fact that, number one, clearly, that car was not stolen. And
until now, it was clear that the car was never stolen. It was staged by Ebron.
And then you went off to work. Was there a pallet downstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There had been.
Describe it to me.
As the detective zeroes in on details about the makeshift pallet, Barton fumbles through her answers. Maybe they found that pastel blanket. Maybe there's blood on it. Or maybe that white sheet, the one Barton insists wasn't on the floor, was used to wrap Lonzie's body.
This is this. Okay. This is this. Blown up. Okay.
The detective now lays out photographic evidence. A white sheet found in her home, stained dark in spots, still wet when recovered.
We've sent a number of things to the lab. We don't just guess. We physically know.
What did he do to him?
The physical proof is closing in, and behind every blood trace, bruise, or misplaced blanket, there's a single question echoing louder than all the rest. What did he do?
Bruise to me. 50 set piece, quarter. Draw a circle. Draw a circle for me. Just think of how big it was. And you're pointing at it. Point to me where it was.
Probably show you.
Okay. Yeah.
Now the detectives shift focus to Lonzi's injuries.
I figured that it was like an ear infection, you know, because they can cause your ear to swell.
How long did you notice it froze?
I had just really noticed it. I didn't.
She says she thought it was some sort of infection, and that doesn't hold. Earlier, she said he only had a bug bite and a small lip injury. Now she's being told about bruises and trauma and still claims ignorance.
A little more tired than you, a little bit lazier, a little bit irritable, you know, whiny a little bit, a little more clingy, I guess you would say. But I just...
The behavior Barton describes will lead the detectives to conclude that Lonzi was suffering from skull fracture.
Bit of like a yellowish color stuff right there. I figured that, yeah. I just take him, thought he had an ear infection. I just take him to the doctor with him the next day and they could tell me what it was.
Those are just
The detective is going to make a very valid point here.
something in their head. You can't wait till tomorrow. That stuff's got to come pretty quick.
She says that why on earth will someone wait for a day before seeing a doctor when you see a bruise on your child's head? Barton, with no reply, just shrugs it off.
To Reuben about it. Tell me what you said.
I just told him, yeah, I said, how'd that get there?
Right. And then what did he say?
He said, I don't know, I told you, this is what I was telling you about earlier. And I was like,
Didn't tell me.
yeah.
Lonzi had a skull fracture. He was showing clear signs of trauma. Someone nearby would have known, should have known. But Barton? She just shrugs it off, like her child's agony was invisible. Or worse, ignored.
Just kind of wondering what, you know, why we're trying to come get me, but I figured that if it was an emergency or something that he would have already...
How often did he not show up?
Never.
Barton is lying, and it won't stay hidden for long. While she claims she doesn't know what happened, phone records later revealed that Ebron called her, told her exactly what happened, and instructed her to get a ride. She was informed, involved, and made a choice to stay quiet.
And he tells me that, you know, he ran inside to this way, told me outside that he ran upstairs to lock the doors, that he forgot to lock the house up. And
She admits Ebron gave conflicting stories, first about locking the door, then about getting something to serve someone.
What else did he say?
he told me that he had actually went up there to get something to serve to someone. Someone had made a phone call because I asked, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, I said, what the fuck happened? Who would steal your car? And he told me, he said, well, I don't know who would steal our car.
And even after all the contradictions, after realizing he lied, after hearing that her son might be gone, she still stands by him until the very end, when she finally mutters, I don't believe him.
You believe that now?
No, I don't believe him.
But by then, it's too late.
Why would someone do something like this? What would reason? Can anybody come up with a logical reason?
I can't.
Can anybody come up with a logical reason that this right here happened? That we had to cut the carpet out and take your baby. That's his blood.
It's the first time we hear her speaking like a grieving mother, not a detached bystander. She recalls demanding answers from Ebron, begging him to tell her where Lonzi was. She says she pushed, yelled, refused to leave the room, that she wanted the truth.
Okay, and if he don't tell, he's still gonna get charged with murder, right?
She shifts the full blame on Ebron, but if she knew or even suspected that he did something to Lonzi, why didn't she act sooner?
By one of the texts that said, my bad, I gave him fucking milk. Okay? Who does that? Who complains about, oh, these kids are driving me crazy today? I know there's been times you...
Barton insists that she never saw Ebron hurt her child, but the texts are there. The time for pretending, deflecting, or blaming is over. The evidence is building, and there's nowhere left to hide.
Explain the basal fracture.
And basal skull fracture. You hit someone like a child hard enough in the head. That what it does, it can leave like a hairline fracture. It's not something you can see.
The detective briefs her about basal fracture. Had she looked this up before? If her browser history holds searches related to head trauma or toddler injuries, it could suggest she knew more far earlier than she's ever admitted.
He spent time trying to figure out how to cover his tracks, up to the point of staging this abduction of which was already gone.
He spent time crafting a lie. The car theft was staged. The abduction was fake, and so were the phone calls.
He could have fucking called me to come home and get my baby if he was getting on his fucking nerve.
Over an hour into the interview, and Barton still hasn't said her son's name. Not even once. Just he or the baby. This kind of distancing is common, especially among abusers or those involved in a victim's death. Avoiding the name helps dull the emotional weight. But Lonzie wasn't just the baby. He was her son, and the silence around his name says more than words ever could.
The last time that you saw him in the car, was he still acting cranky, tired?
Yeah, he was about to fall asleep. I told him, I said, "You're gonna go straight home with him? He's tired." Yeah. And he told me, yeah, he said, we're going home and lay him down.
Barton is going to make a fatal mistake here.
Every day?
Yeah. Not every day. He don't. He never made.
That's what he told me. There was the night of that you went to work that Thursday night. You said he did not. You told him not to give her a bath, but he was going to give a bath.
Yeah.
She first claims that she's the only one who bathes Lonzie. Then, without hesitation, she flips, saying Ebron mentioned giving him a bath that night. But when pressed, she suddenly doesn't know if it happened or not. Then, she can't remember if he ever said it again. She now starts to fall apart.
I just read that, I'm sorry. 2:15. Now that's 4 minutes. And this is where he's seen walking back into the apartment, captured on video again. Okay?
This is where he's telling me that the phone died.
Right.
By now, detectives have gathered a solid trail of surveillance footage, enough to completely dismantle Ebron's kidnapping story. His timeline doesn't add up, and the supposed abduction is nothing more than a fabrication. But as they reveal this, Barton shows nothing. No heartbreak over what that means for her son, no emotion at all.
Okay, this is you. Pretend. What are you telling 911? Tell me right now. Your fucking kid's gone. What?
My car's just been stolen with my kid inside of it.
How long did that take you?
Not long at all.
3 seconds?
Yeah.
If someone really stole your car with a child inside, your first instinct would be to call 911 immediately. But Ebron didn't call the police.
Seconds is what it took that fuckwagon.
It took it that long. You had to just come.
Let me play it back for you. Yeah, my car's been stolen. Where are you from, sir? 8030 Old Kings Road. Okay, what kind of car?
Instead, he waited. He made other calls. He wandered around. It suggests he wasn't trying to find Lonzie. He was trying to figure out how to cover up what had already happened.
Somebody's car just...
You know why it's calm? You know why it's calm? Because the car ain't stolen! And there's no baby in it. So here's the thing.
That was the conclusion. No car being stolen, and no baby in the car. So what exactly happened?
You meet her. On the 18th, she went back home. And he killed her on the 19th. And chopped her up.
When given the details of the death of her coworker, Barton shows more emotions than she did on the death of her own son.
I sat with your mom for a little while. She wanted to see the majority of the pictures that I showed you.
In a highly unusual move, they're bringing Barton's mother in. Normally, no one assigned.
The detectives bring in Barton's mother, a decision rarely made during active interrogation. This might be a psychological strategy. Barton's walls aren't breaking under pressure, so they bring in someone who might reach her emotionally.
If I ever see you with a black man again, I'll disown you. You understand me?
Yeah, I understand you, but you gotta understand too. White men are just capable. Yeah, let's.
That subtle jab tells her a lot. She believes Reuben is to blame, and she resents her daughter for getting involved with him in the first place.
If you think I hurt my kid, then
I
she
didn't know.
doesn't.
I don't like the idea that.
She doesn't think that.
I don't think that. Well, if I did, I'd.
Well, why are you looking at me like that?
No one in the room had directly accused Barton of physically harming Lonzy, yet she instantly jumps into defense mode, repeating over and over that she didn't hurt him.
To go home.
What?
Did you ask me if that was a warrant sign for you?
Yeah?
That's what's signed for you.
So
For child neglect, yes.
For child neglect.
Yeah, it's not for hurting your child as far as this incident.
So I'm going to jail.
Yes.
It's as if she knew it was coming all along. She doesn't even ask about her rights.
So I'm going to jail because I left my baby with him?
The baby had injuries, okay, on his head. Just like when your mama talked, if that baby has an injury on his head like that, you have to immediately get him care. Okay, right or wrong?
Yeah.
You guys saw it in the lawyer says.
That's up to you. I can't give you that
lawyer.
That information. Okay, well.
No, I didn't see no interview.
That's when the detective tells her that she should be punished equally for neglecting and ignoring. Lonzy's body was finally recovered 6 months after his death, but by then, decomposition was so advanced that the exact cause of death couldn't be determined. Lana Barton eventually pleaded guilty to child neglect and giving false statements to police. The judge sentenced her to 5 years, with credit for time served, but a later drug charge sealed her fate: no parole. In the end, justice feels incomplete. A toddler left to die alone, to adults who treated him like an afterthought, and a truth that may never fully surface. Now, if that one left you speechless, the next one is just straight up disturbing, not because of what happened, but because of how calm he was about it.
Anything to say for yourself today?
No, ma'am.
Any reason why you might have done this to this young man?
No, ma'am.
Proud of what you've done?
No, ma'am.
Do you have remorse for what you've done?
No, ma'am.
This is Jared Murray, a college student who murdered his own classmate just to feel what it was like to kill someone. His victim was Janiro Sanchez, a new student at East Central University in Oklahoma. On December 5th, 2012, Janiro unknowingly stepped into a nightmare. That day, Murray asked Janiro for a ride to Walmart and agreed to pay him $20 for the trip. It seemed harmless, but Janiro had no idea that ride would be his last. In the Walmart parking lot, Jared pulled out a stolen .40 caliber handgun taken from a man named Daniel Davis. We'll hear more about him later. He pointed the gun at Janiro and made him keep driving out of town toward a quiet, empty road near Asher, Oklahoma. When they reached Substation Road, a remote, lonely spot, Murray reloaded the gun. The first shot missed. The second hit Janiro in the head. The car swerved off the road and crashed into a ditch. Still alive, barely breathing, Janiro was dragged from the car and laid on the ground. And then Jared calmly shot him again, this time killing him. Afterwards, Jared tried to cover the body with dirt, leaves, even a single stick. Then he walked away like nothing happened. But what came next, in the interrogation room, would reveal just how cold and calculated Jared really was.
Shot him in the head twice.
Okay.
3 shots were fired, 1 missed.
And where did you shoot? Where was this? Did it Where does this happen at?
Around 5 miles north of Asher, Oklahoma, on the side road.
From the very start, Jared Murray doesn't hesitate, but instead gives calm, direct answers. He talks about murder casually, like it's some routine task. At this point, the detective is guiding the conversation gently, giving Jared just enough rope to talk freely. He wants to hear it straight from the source, in Jared's own words. And Jared delivers the details with chilling ease. It's also worth noting how Jared doesn't try to lie or deny anything. That's not because he's honest. It's because he's detached. He's not trying to avoid punishment. He just doesn't care.
No, sir.
You did. So, you know him through a mutual friend, and you guys go up in the same door.
Yes, sir.
Different sections.
Yes, sir. But it's literally right.
What stands out here isn't how they met. It's how emotionally distant Jared sounds when describing it. No attachment, no hesitation, just a mechanical memory of a random meeting. The detective is likely already clocking this emotional flatness. If Jared had picked someone close, it would hint at personal motives, jealousy, betrayal, anger. But instead, it's someone almost forgettable. That suggests this wasn't about the victim at all, just about the experience. This is also where detectives start to get a clearer profile. Emotionally detached, calculated, and likely fantasizing about the act long before it ever happened.
And did he in fact take you to Walmart?
Yes, sir. We got in his pickup truck and he drove me to Walmart.
And so you talked about the Walmart night?
Yes, sir.
With that. And that's a couple miles from the school?
Goodbye.
This is where the detective is feeling Jared out, trying to confirm whether Haniro went willingly. And when Jared admits that, yes, Haniro agreed to the ride, it quietly removes any possible claim of self-defense or coercion on the victim's part. The $20 offer was a bait, a way to make the plan look casual, and Jared being the one to approach Haniro shows he was in full control from the beginning. This exchange confirms something crucial. The setup was premeditated, smooth, and manipulative, the kind of move that doesn't come from impulse, but from planning.
Why did all of a sudden did you decide that you need to go to Asher?
I'll go.
Jordan's delivery is still flat, detached, no tension, just a statement of what happened, like it was routine. That's chilling. It confirms what detectives likely already suspected. It was the planned turning point. Also, Jared didn't choose some isolated road to pull the gun. He did it in a public parking lot. That boldness tells us something. Fear of getting caught wasn't even on his mind. He was focused on one thing: control. And when he tells Haniro to drive to Asher, that's when the fantasy shifts into action. From this moment on, everything Jared does is about power, and the detective knows that.
Was your intention never to go to Walmart?
Yes, sir.
Why Asher? Jared confirms he picked Asher because it was remote, quiet, the perfect place to kill someone. There's no build-up, no struggle, no regret. This is the kind of moment that sends a chill down a detective's spine, not because the crime was brutal, but because the reasoning was clean, empty, and emotionless. Jared didn't act out of passion. He chose isolation on purpose, not to avoid witnesses, but to play out a fantasy with no interruptions.
Can you kind of tell me when you made this decision that you was going to take him and kill him, why?
I made the decision 3 days prior to the incident.
Jared confirms that from the second he knocked on Haniro's door, he had one goal: murder. Walmart was never part of the plan. It was just a story to get Haniro in the car. What's even darker is when the detective asks the key follow-up, "Did he do something to you?" And Jared calmly says, "No." That's the red flag. No trigger, no provocation, just a completely innocent victim chosen at random. Now the detective knows this wasn't about revenge, anger, or even hate. It was a curiosity. Jared wanted to kill, and Hanero just happened to be the easiest target.
You've been planning this for 2 days.
2 weeks, yes.
2 weeks.
But not with a selected individual, no.
Now, when did you get to the point where you knew it was going to be him?
That was 3 days prior to the incident.
Now the detective is zeroing in on premeditation, and Jared lays it all out again without emotion. He didn't just think about killing someone. He scheduled it. Tried once, failed, came back again. That level of calm persistence strips away any hope of blaming a mental break or sudden impulse. Jared had made a decision and was committed. He waited, watched, and followed through like it was part of a plan he didn't want to miss. And the scariest part? He talks about the failed attempt like someone talking about missing a bus. No frustration, no anger, just quiet patience. This is the profile of someone who didn't see the act as wrong, just unfinished business.
And why him? All the kids in college here, why him?
I believed that he would have had the least impact, sir.
Impact of what?
For 2 whole weeks he had been planning to kill someone, but not someone specific. That alone is horrifying. It means anyone could have been the target. There was nothing personal. Then 3 days before the murder, Jared chose Hanero. And just like that, Hanero's fate was sealed, not because of anything he said or did, but because Jared simply decided it was time. This randomness is what truly unsettles investigators. It tells them Jared wasn't acting out of emotion. He was carrying out a fantasy, one that could have involved anyone, anywhere. And once the decision was made, he didn't hesitate. He waited, he watched, he followed through. That level of control, it's rare, and it's deeply dangerous.
Would have been if tomorrow at school nobody would have thought anything of it.
That was the plan, sir, yes.
Sure.
When asked what he thought should happen to him, Murray gave a chilling answer.
This is the moment we get to the core of Jared's reasoning, and what we hear is bone-chilling. Jared didn't pick Hanero out of anger or opportunity. He picked him because he thought no one would miss him. That kind of thinking? Calculating a person's social value before deciding to kill them is cold beyond belief. To Jared, this was a low-risk decision, like removing a piece from the board and assuming no one would notice. And he even corrects himself. Not no friends, but not many close friends. That tiny detail shows how much thought went into this. He didn't just pick someone randomly. He studied the social landscape and chose the most disposable person he could find. This reveals just how detached Jared truly is. He sees people as variables, not lives, and he killed the one he thought would cause the least noise.
Okay.
I know the surrounding terrain, and I knew a good spot. I didn't have that spot planned in particular. If I had planned that for it, I would have had a grave dug. But I knew a general area.
Yeah. So you brought him to that area because you knew that area because he was raised there?
Yes, sir.
And that's the road that you would travel going back and forth to your mom and dad's house?
No, sir. I traveled the road further to the south of it. Just the road one south to it. That's the road I would travel.
Now Jared starts revealing the logistics behind the murder, about how he planned to get away with it. He admits that Asher was part of an escape route, north toward Canada, and Asher was on the way. Jared had an end game. He wasn't planning to turn himself in. He was planning to disappear. Even more disturbing is the way he talks about the murder site, not as a scene of violence, but as a strategic location. He didn't dig a grave because he hadn't planned that far ahead, but he did know the area well because he grew up there. It means Jared didn't act on impulse. He thought about where, when, and how to leave the least trace. He didn't choose Asher for its isolation. He chose it because it was familiar, quiet, easy to control. It's how ordinary Jared makes it sound, like he's explaining a road trip, not a homicide.
Went to pull out his phone. I yanked the phone out of his hand, and then he panicked some more. Kept telling me not to kill him. To make him feel more comfortable,
Jared's answer is as dry as ever. He told Haniro to drive to Asher. No threats, no yelling, no panic, just a calm and deliberate command. And that's exactly what makes it so unnerving. There was no emotional spike when the weapon came out. Jared didn't flinch. He didn't hesitate. He was fully in control of the situation and chillingly aware of what he was about to do.
the bullet from the chamber, handed them over to them, and that eased his nerves a little. Then I pulled a second clip out of my pocket and set it on my lap.
That, yeah. And you drove him to, so he drove you?
Yes, sir.
And did you have any conversation between Ada and Asher?
The entire time was a conversation, sir.
And
Jared is laying out psychological manipulation in real time. He sees Hanero's fear, watches him panic, and instead of backing down, he plays with that fear. When Hanero reaches for his phone, Jared snatches it away. He's already taken control physically, but now he starts working on emotional control. By unloading the gun and handing the magazine to Hanero, he creates a false sense of safety, a moment where Hanero thinks maybe he'll live. That small gesture, that calculated act of comfort, is sinister, because Jared knows exactly what he's doing. He's not giving mercy. And then comes the reveal. He had a second clip all along, sitting calmly in his pocket already. He sets it on his lap like it's nothing, but that move says everything. It was a slow, staged performance, a moment-by-moment game where Jared had all the power, and Hanero never stood a chance.
We was talking on our upbringings, our past, our family histories, things of more philosophical nature, etc., etc.
Okay. And so did he say anything when you had him to pull off of the main highway onto this dirt road?
No, sir.
Okay.
Jared tells the detective they had a philosophical conversation about life, family, their pasts. But let's be real. That wasn't a heart-to-heart. That was a predator calming prey. For the first half of the drive, Jared is actively lying to Hanero, reassuring him that he won't be killed, knowing full well he plans to murder him. That kind of deception, done face-to-face for miles, takes a level of emotional detachment most people can't even fathom. It's a mind game. Jared isn't bonding. He's humanizing his victim just enough to observe his behavior, but not enough to change course. And the most chilling part? Jared remembers it all with clarity and zero remorse.
You didn't have the magazine in the gun?
I did not have the magazine in the gun. Every 5 to 10 minutes he had me put my finger in the hole where the clip goes and show that the round.
Jared's response is clinical, almost proud. Like he's reading specs off a product sheet. He doesn't just say, a gun. He gives the full make and model, down to the caliber. Springfield Armory XD-40 Smith & Wesson 40 caliber. For Jared, this is a tool, and describing it technically gives him distance from the horror of what he did with it.
And of course it was slow when he wasn't purposefully driving. Tried to pull him out, couldn't get him out until he already had hit the tree. Pulled him out there, dumped him into the... before I dumped him into the ditch, I heard him gurgling. I'm not sure if that was a physiological or physical process after death, but I thought that he might have still lived through that somehow, because he was gurgling, so I shot him again and then shoved him down in the ditch. I then got his phone.
Okay, hang on, let's back up just a second.
Yes, sir.
You fired the first round?
Yes, sir.
And you missed?
Yes, sir.
Do you know where that round hit?
I believe it hit the top of the door, but it might have hit the window.
Did the window bust?
The window did bust, sir, but...
He describes the murder step by step like he's walking through instructions. Quick reload, missed shot, the second shot connects. He's thinking in terms of execution, not emotion. There's no hesitation, no regret. Then comes the most horrifying part, the gurgling. Jared acknowledges the second and questions whether it was a reflex or a sign Haniro was still alive. Jared acknowledges the sound and questions whether it was a reflex or a sign Haniro was still alive. But what he does next says everything. He shoots again. Because in his mind, the task wasn't finished. That clinical problem-solving mindset, shoot, check, finish, discard, is what sets him apart from a crime of passion. For the detective, this confirms something they likely already suspected. Jared was executing a plan, and he wanted to make sure there were no loose ends.
Okay, a stick.
Yes, sir. There was a stick on the side of the hill. I just grabbed everything on the side of the hill and pushed it on top of him.
Okay. Now, when you say a stick, and I was at the scene, I went down there, and you know that.
Yes, sir.
This part is almost absurd in its cold simplicity, and that's what makes it so unsettling. To the detective, this reveals two things. First, Jared wasn't thinking about hiding the crime long-term. He wasn't panicked or desperate to cover his tracks. This half-hearted attempt shows he knew it wouldn't work and didn't care. Second, it suggests that the act of killing was always the main event. What came after? Just cleanup. The burial wasn't symbolic, emotional, or even practical. It was just a box to check. There's no humanity in how he describes it, no sense of weight or consequence, just a body, repositioned and lazily covered, like trash someone didn't want to look at.
After that,
When you say it wasn't going, it was because it was stuck?
I believe one of the wheels was off the ground and it wasn't making traction.
Okay. And so you couldn't get the truck out, so what did you do then?
What's chilling is how unfazed he seems. He doesn't panic, doesn't flee. He just calmly describes trying to reverse, then drive, like he's troubleshooting a minor inconvenience, not standing next to a body he just murdered. At this point, most people would be spiraling, worried about being caught, regretting what they did. But Jared? He's still locked into a mechanical, task-focused mindset. Kill, cover, escape. And now that escape isn't going as planned. He's simply trying to solve the next problem.
Even described pulling himself and Sanchez out of the ditch. What stood out most was his complete lack of emotion, speaking about murder like it was just part of a routine day.
Jared never actually had a full escape plan. He thought he'd just kill, cover the body, and drive off. The moment things didn't go perfectly, he had to lie his way through the next step. And the ease with which he does it, calling a friend right after a murder, shows just how emotionally disconnected he truly is. No regret, no pause, just on to the next task.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I had hoped that by determining that I was heading south, you went to Asher, you would know my grandparents' house, and I was hoping that my name would probably show up somewhere in the course of this little thing. I didn't expect it to be found so quickly.
Why didn't you think it would be found so quick?
I didn't think someone would drive down that road. In my original plan, I gave myself maybe 6 to 8 hours to get out of the area. But since it was found so quickly, at least I believed so at the time.
This line is one of the most revealing so far. He wasn't planning to get away forever. He just wanted a head start. He didn't plan to escape the authorities. It was about completing the fantasy, getting to feel what it was like to kill, and maybe run for a while. That's it. Jared didn't care about the consequences. He wasn't trying to avoid them, just delay them long enough to enjoy the aftermath.
You know, you've already told us about the homicide.
Yes, sir.
And you told us about shooting.
Yes, sir.
The gun's not in the truck.
It was in the truck, sir.
And so I need to know where that gun's at.
When I left the scene, it was in the truck, sir.
It was still in the truck.
It was still in the truck, sir.
Where was it at in the truck?
It was, I believe it was on the center console, but it's possible it could have been between the driver's seat and the center console.
Okay, because the center console is pushed up. It's not down.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, you kept saying it was on the center console. To be on the center console would have to be in the down position, correct?
Yes, sir.
The center console is up.
Jared answers clearly, without hesitation, even giving 2 possible locations for the gun. He's being cooperative, but not because he feels guilty. It's because in his mind, the story's already over. The act is done. He's accepted the outcome. And the way he describes the gun's placement, casually noting it might be on the console or between the seats, shows he's not worried about hiding it. He didn't toss it, bury it, or try to wipe it clean. He just left it there. The weapon, the evidence, even the body, none of it seemed to matter to him once the act was complete. And that confirms what they've likely suspected the whole time. This wasn't a crime committed in fear. It was committed in cold blood. And once it was done, Jared simply moved on.
Yeah, you mean you told him what happened? What do you mean?
I told him.
So you told Shane's father about the murder you just did?
Not the specifics, but the general picture, yes.
Yeah, can you remember what you told him?
Not exactly, but I didn't tell him.
This is where things take a strange and unexpected turn. And for the detective, it's a gold mine. Jared admits he went to someone for advice after the murder, the stepfather of a college roommate. That shows Jared wasn't thinking clearly about consequences. It wasn't a well-thought-out cover-up. It was a mix of cold planning and bizarre impulsiveness. And the fact that he even planned to leave this part out shows he still understands, at least on some level, that what he did was monstrous.
Did you write that?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
You didn't write that?
No, sir.
You have any idea how that note came up there?
No, sir. I don't think anything like that was there whenever I left.
Good.
So is it possibility that the gentleman?
Yes. When I was on the way back into Asher, he had told me that some thieves stole about $1,000 worth of guns of his, and that he was looking for, and if he found them, he would kill them down on the side of the road. Then I said $1,000 is...
A note was found on the truck. Jared says he didn't write it. And whether that's true or not, it suddenly opens a new door. Did someone else get involved? Or is Jared lying to create confusion? Jared doesn't try to explain it away. He doesn't suggest who might have written it or even question why it's there. He just calmly says he doesn't know. So now it could mean one of 2 things. Either he's lying, and the note was part of the plan, or he truly didn't write it, which would raise the unsettling possibility that someone else was near that truck after the murder. Either way, the detective just picked up a thread, and he's going to keep pulling.
Picked on me. I beat them up.
And that Asher?
Yes.
Okay. So you basically beat him up, not because you just wanted to beat him up, but because they were making fun of you.
After the break, the officer resumed questioning, diving deeper into what happened after the murder. Murray confirmed that Shane's father...
Haniro opened up about his weight, his insecurity, how he was bullied. In contrast, Jared almost brushes it off. Says he was bullied too, but beat them up by 5th grade. Jared views strength, especially emotional strength, as binary. You either take control or you're weak. And in that twisted logic, Haniro's vulnerability might have made him easier to dehumanize, easier to select as a target. Because in Jared's mind, Haniro wasn't just someone with fewer friends. He was someone who didn't fight back. And for a person chasing power through violence, that distinction matters.
Nothing in particular. My grandfather died recently, but that's not related to it. Before his death, I had similar thoughts. Almost just like that.
Your grandfather is the same grandfather that you cut the ride to?
That answer opens a new window, not just into his actions, but into his state of mind leading up to the murder. Jared says he thought about suicide just 3 weeks ago, because when someone moves from suicidal ideation to homicidal action, it often means they've crossed into a mental space where life, theirs or anyone else's, starts to lose meaning. This could suggest a few things. He may have felt invisible, hopeless, and the murder became a twisted way to assert control. Or he may have simply disconnected from the value of life entirely, his own and everyone else's.
That maybe 6 years ago, maybe 5.
Never done any other type of drugs?
No, sir.
You're not on any medication?
No, sir. Just an Bureau inhaler for asthma, sir.
I do have asthma.
Yes.
He's checking for mental illness, medication, drugs, anything that might explain or soften what Jared did. Because if Jared had said yes to any of it, it might suggest impaired judgment, chemical influence, or underlying psychological conditions. But Jared says no history of mental illness, no meds, no drugs, aside from some marijuana years ago. His only prescription? An inhaler for asthma. And that answer, while simple, actually makes things worse in the eyes of investigators, because it confirms what's already becoming clear. Jared was fully conscious, completely sober, and mentally present when he decided to murder someone.
Happened on a Tuesday, and the attempt occurred that same night, though details of the attempt remain unclear.
And I believe you.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding what you got out of it.
So,
Can you help me?
I don't really get anything out of it.
I mean, but why?
all those girls.
If you wouldn't want to get some self-gratitude or some, why did you do it? I guess that's what I'm asking.
If I press to answer, I'll say it's to prove the strength of my resolve. But that's only if I press to answer.
I'm not pressing you, I'm just trying to understand.
Then I don't know why.
Okay. So it just
Popped in my head.
popped in your head.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But it's never popped in your head before.
Not other people, sir, no.
That you've never killed before.
No, sir.
Alice?
The detective is eagerly hoping for something. Revenge, anger, twisted gratification, anything that would make Jared's actions at least understandable, even if not forgivable. But Jared gives him nothing. He just did it because it popped up in his mind. And when someone doesn't even understand their own reasoning for killing, that's when you realize you're not dealing with someone broken. You're dealing with someone empty.
No.
Okay, so it makes you feel better that somebody had sheriff on their jacket that arrested you?
Yes, sir.
Opposed to what?
A deputy or someone like that, sir.
Hobson's. Okay, well, I'm not the sheriff.
I'm aware of that.
The detective shifts his focus to Jared's emotional state, likely in an attempt to determine whether any sense of guilt or regret exists. He expresses no regret for the act of murder itself. Instead, his only disappointment lies in how quickly he was apprehended. Even that disappointment is somewhat undermined by the fact that he seems to appreciate the symbolism of being caught by someone wearing a sheriff's badge.
Why would you want me to believe that this was just going to be a one-time thing? Since you planned this for 3 weeks, and if by Tuesday night you knew who, and you knew when.
By asking about mass shootings or the possibility of other victims, he's probing not only for evidence, but for Jared's mindset. Jared, however, denies any intentions of a mass shooting or targeting additional victims. His calmness in the face of such heavy questions only deepens the chilling nature of the case.
Be the end of it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm not going to find anything on your computer that's going to be, or when I go to college, when myself and this team from the DA's office goes to the campus, and we talk to everybody that you're associated with in the dorms.
It's a fair question. A young man murders someone in cold blood, without motive, without remorse, and now claims that it was one and done. Jared doesn't even try to defend himself. He admits outright that there's no reason to believe him. He's not pleading for understanding. He's just stating facts, like he's detached from the weight of what he's saying. That unsettling level of self-control, combined with the lack of any emotional anchor, is what makes Jared Murray so disturbing And that's exactly why the detective doesn't believe him.
How about? We'll be taken out to the jail here shortly, okay?
Yes, sir.
Good night.
This response tells us something deeper about his mindset. Jared views life and death not as sacred or emotional concepts, but as transactional. Cause and effect. Take a life, lose yours. But it doesn't come from regret. There's no sorrow behind his words. An eye for an eye, he said. No emotion, no hesitation. He wasn't bargaining for mercy. But the justice system didn't see it the same way. Though charged with first-degree murder, Murray wasn't convicted. Instead, he was found not guilty by reason of insanity, a rare and controversial outcome. Rather than death row, he was sent to a psychiatric facility in Veneta, Oklahoma. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. By 2022, he was released. The same man who calmly admitted to plotting and carrying out a calculated killing walked free. This case leaves you with questions that aren't so easy to answer. Is justice always about punishment? Or is it about understanding the mind behind the crime, even if that means setting the killer free? Each of these cases was strange in its own way. One suspect couldn't tell what was real, another acted like nothing ever happened, and the third, he just wanted to feel something. These weren't normal crimes, and these definitely weren't normal people. Thanks for watching.